Welcome to Module 3, From Employee Mindset to Operator Mindset. This is one of the most important shifts in the entire one-person empire journey. Because you can have tools, you can have AI, you can have ideas, notebooks, templates, planners, and 17 browser tabs open like a tiny digital tornado. But if you still think like someone waiting to be assigned value, you will still keep operating below your potential. This module is about the identity shift from task doer to value creator, from wanting to be told what to do to seeing what needs to be solved, from finishing assignments to owning outcomes. This is where you stop asking, "What am I supposed to do?" and start asking, "What problem needs to be solved? What outcome matters? And how do I create value here?" This is the operator mindset, and that is the beginning of building like a business of one. This module shows you how to shift from task doer to value creator, problem solver, and business builder. The old mindset says, "Give me a task." The operator mindset says, "Show me the outcome." That distinction matters because markets do not reward you just because you were busy. They reward value. They reward solved problems. They reward people who can think, decide, improve, and execute. This does not mean employment is bad. Let's just be grown-ups here. A job can be a training ground. A job can fund the empire. A job can sharpen your skills. The issue is not employment. The issue is thinking like someone who only moves when permission arrives wearing a name badge. An operator can work inside a company, build a business, consult, freelance, create digital products, or lead a team. The difference is internal. New mindset, new results, new level. There are two ways to move through work. The employee mindset waits for tasks. The operator mindset looks for value. The employee mindset focuses on effort. The operator mindset focuses on results. The employee mindset follows instructions. The operator mindset thinks in systems. The employee mindset avoids mistakes. The operator mindset solves problems. The employee mindset trades time for money. The operator mindset creates leverage. The employee mindset asks, "What do I do?" The operator mindset asks, "What needs to be done?" Those questions create very different lives. One keeps you inside a role, the other trains you to become the person who can design, improve, and eventually own the system. The world does not pay for time alone, it pays for transformation. An operator is a person who owns the outcome, not in a dramatic "I alone must carry the entire kingdom on my back" way. Relax. We are building an empire, not auditioning for tragic medieval documentaries. Owning the outcome means you care about the result. You see the big picture. You improve the process. You solve problems instead of simply reporting them. You connect your work to the value it creates for other people, a client, a business, a community, or a market. An operator does not just complete tasks. An operator builds trust. An operator creates momentum. An operator understands that every action belongs to a larger chain of value. Operators build, employees execute. Empires are built by operators. One of the biggest differences between task doers and operators is awareness. Operators notice gaps. They notice the email that confuses clients. They notice the sales process that leaks leads. They notice the onboarding step that causes friction. They notice the repeated mistake that everyone keeps pretending is just how things are. They ask better questions. They think in systems. They connect dots. They create solutions. And most importantly, they move things forward. You do not need a fancy title to start operating this way. You can start inside your current role, your current business, your current project, your current life. Awareness is the first advantage. Because once you can see the gap, you can begin to create the value. This is where a lot of people accidentally trap themselves. They say, "I'm just a writer. I'm just a designer. I'm just a coordinator. I'm just an assistant. I'm just getting started." No, we are not doing the just thing here. Your title is not your ceiling, and you are not only the task you perform, you are the value your work creates. A writer can increase trust, clarify offers, drive sales, educate buyers, build authority, and shape perception. A designer can improve conversations, make products easier, create emotional connection, and increase perceived value. A coordinator can reduce chaos, protect timelines, improve client experience, and keep money from falling through the floorboards. You are a value creator. You solve problems. You create outcomes. This is your real title. The operator loop is simple. First, see the opportunity. Second, define the outcome. Third, design the approach. Fourth, take action and improve. Fifth, deliver value and get paid. Then the loop continues. This is how an operator thinks. They do not wait for perfect clarity before moving. They clarify through intelligent action. They do not simply complete the first version and disappear into the mist. They improve the process. They study what worked. They adjust what did not. They turn experience into better execution. This loop compounds your results because every project teaches you how to create more value with more precision. See, the opportunity, you need to define the outcome, design the approach, act and improve, and deliver. That is the operator loop. Responsibility gets a bad reputation because people confuse it with blame. But responsibility is not the same as blame. Responsibility is power. When you take ownership, you stop waiting for someone else to fix the situation. You control what you can. You solve the problem in front of you. You deliver the result, you earn trust, and trust becomes leverage. This does not mean you accept poor treatment. It does not mean you clean up everyone's chaos while they sip coffee and contribute vibes. It means you claim your ability to influence the outcome. The moment you own the outcome, you become harder to ignore. Because people trust the person who can move from problem to solution. That is power. Let's make this practical. Task thinking says, list what to do, complete the list, report completion, repeat. This is not useless. Tasks matter, but task completion alone does not make you valuable in the highest way. Value thinking asks, what is the real need? What solution creates the result? How do I deliver the outcome? How can this be improved or scaled? The task is the surface. The value is underneath it. For example, the task might be write 3 emails. The value might be increase show up rates for a sales call. That is a different level of thinking. When you understand the value behind the task, you can make better decisions. Tasks follow instructions. Value follows vision. Operators do not wait for perfect information. They start, learn, adjust, and get better. This matters because many brilliant people stay stuck in preparation. They are researching, they are planning, they are watching another tutorial, they are color coding a spreadsheet that has somehow become their emotional support animal. Planning is a useful thing, but planning is not the same as progress. Operators understand that momentum creates clarity. Action creates confidence. Results create freedom. You do not need to know everything before you begin. You need to know enough to take the next intelligent step. Then you learn from reality. That is how builders move. Not reckless action, not random action, imperfect, thoughtful, forward action. Let's say someone wants to become a freelancer. Employee thinking says, I need more training, I need a better title, I need permission, I need more time. I'll do it when I'm ready. Operator thinking says, I'll solve a real problem. I'll solve a solution. I'll start with one client. I'll improve as I go. I'll build something valuable. Same person, different mindset, different life. The employee mindset is waiting for certainty. The operator mindset is creating evidence. That evidence might be a sample, a small project, a case study, a conversation, a pilot offer, or a result you produced for someone. You do not think your way into becoming an operator. You operate your way into becoming one. Your mindset is not a cute little quote for a mug. Your mindset is the operating system of your empire. It changes how you think. That changes how you act. That changes your results. And over time, that changes your life. If you think like a task doer, you will look for instructions. If you think like an operator, you will look for value. If you think like someone who needs permission, you will wait. If you think like someone who owns outcomes, you will move. That is why the identity shift matters, because every business system you build later will sit on top of the person you are becoming now. Your mindset creates your reality because it shapes what you notice, what you tolerate, what you attempt, and what you improve. The operator mindset is not something you understand once and then magically become forever. You practice it. You audit your current mindset. You practice operator questions daily. You take ownership of the one outcome. You measure results, not effort. You keep improving your systems. This is where standards come in. You do not rise to your goals, you rise to your standards. A goal says, I want to build a one person empire. A standard says, I solve problems, I create value, I follow through, I improve the system. I do not abandon my future because today feels inconvenient. That is the shift. And then you stay in the shift, not perfectly, consistently. That is how builders think. When you are unsure what to do, ask better questions. What problem am I solving? What outcome matters most? What is broken? What creates leverage? What resources or skills do I need? Who can I help with this? How will I measure success? These questions pull you out of vague activity and into useful action. The quality of your questions determines the quality of your decisions, and the quality of your decisions determines the quality of your empire. So when you feel scattered, come back to the operator questions. Do not ask, how do I look busy? Ask, what creates value? Do not ask, what will make me feel safe? Ask, what will move the mission forward? Better questions create better empires. Here is your action step. Choose one skill you currently have. It can be writing, organizing, selling, designing, researching, planning, coaching, communicating, analyzing, managing projects, using AI, creating content, or anything else you know how to do. Then write how that skill creates value for another person or business. Do not stop at the task. Go deeper. Ask, who does this help? What problem does it solve? What outcome does it create? How could someone benefit from this enough to pay for it, trust it, or depend on it? Then choose one area where you can own more fully this week. One result, one process, one conversation, one improvement. Ownership starts with one decision. Start seeing your skill as a solution, not just a task. You are the operator of your empire. That means you stop waiting for tasks. You start creating value. You solve bigger problems. You build a life of freedom, impact, and income, not because you are trying to do everything alone, but because you are learning how to direct your skills, systems, tools, and decisions toward a clear outcome. This is the foundation. Before the offers, before the AI agents, before the sales systems, before the client delivery, you become the kind of person who can own outcomes. Think like an operator. Become the empire. Next, we move into Module 4, High Agency Thinking, where we go deeper into ownership, self-trust, speed, responsibility, and decision-making power.